이발 방송은 아닌데 잠깐 자르고 있는데 들어오셨네. 잠깐 다듬고 있었어요. 안녕하세요. 제가 충전기 좀 꽂고 올게요. 보자. 뭔가 뭔가 이상한데, 뭔가 잘못됐는데 모르겠다. 더워서 아무 생각이 없네. 멍이나 때려야지. 좀 더 잘라야 될 것 같은데. 맞나 이거? 더 잘못된 것 같은데. 머리 밀어버릴까요 그냥? 더워 죽겠는데. 짜증나. 눈치 게임 할까요? 누가 먼저 말하나? 책이나 꺼내야겠다. Power of creation. Now that we've seen how ordinary stars create the lighter elements of our world, we can move on to an even more fascinating topic: how the heavier elements on the periodic table are created, like gold, platinum, and silver. The heavier elements are all those with an atomic number greater than iron. Iron forms the dividing line because it absorbs more heat than it releases during fusion. As such, iron doesn't emanate enough heat energy to stop a star from collapsing. Unless the original star was exceptionally large to begin with. It will finally die when it gets to an iron core. What happens during the death of a red supergiant star is one of the most amazing events in the known universe, and it provides the energy source needed to create the heavier elements. If the star is not large enough before its collapse, the intensity of the collapse can actually crush the atoms in the core. Instead of fusing the iron atoms together, this tremendous force pushes their electrons into the nucleus itself. Since electrons are negatively charged and the protons in the nucleus are positively charged, they attract each other and form neutrons which have no charge. Once this happens, all that is left of the iron core is a mass of tightly packed neutrons. There are no atoms left, no electrons and protons. The intensity of the collapse of this large star down to just neutrons has destroyed the structure of matter as we know it. What is left is a neutron star, and it is tiny in size but enormous in mass. Neutron stars are physically about the size of a city but have a mass that is more than 300,000 times heavier than the planet Earth. The density of a neutron star is so great that if you brought a teaspoon of it down to Earth, it would weigh 12 trillion pounds. The amount of energy released by the collapsing of the star's core down to just neutrons is so powerful that it creates a colossal explosion called supernova. This explosion is so enormous that a single supernova emits more light than the combined light of all the billions of stars in its galaxy put together. It is the brightest, most powerful explosion we have discovered in our universe. As it turns out, the enormous energy force generated during a supernova explosion is precisely what is needed to create the rest of the elements we interact with each day. What the force of gravity was unable to do during the creation of lighter elements, the massive explosion of a supernova is able to do. Fuse the heavier elements. The next time you look at your gold wedding ring or open a tin can, reflect on the fact that these elements require the combined power of billions of stars to come into existence. You're surrounded. 냄새. You're surrounded by myriad objects you interacted with each day. There are giant skyscrapers and tiny paper clips that effortlessly come in through your senses. At their root, every single one of these objects is made of atoms. You have just taken the time to understand where all these atoms come from and how you did not create them. They were created in the stars. This should serve to humble you and leave you in awe of the power of creation manifesting before you. Hopefully, this deep sense of humility and awe will assist you on your spiritual journey toward freedom and liberation. 제목 잠깐 수정. Alright, chapter 10. It's not personal. We just explored where the world around you comes from. It began with the Big Bang, and then all the different types of elements were created through the process of atomic fusion. When stars explode at that, all the matter that built up in their outer shells get blown out into interstellar space. Carbon. 누가 어디서 피는 거야? 저 흑인이 피는 거구나. 냄새 좋아. Carbon, oxygen, silicon, gold, and silver were all floating around as clouds of elements in space. Then gravity pulled them together to form the planets. This is how the planet Earth formed with its 92 natural elements, all of which were forged in the stars. The process has gone on over 13 billion years. And everything you interact with each day is composed of this stardust, including your body. This is the truth, and we should remember and contemplate it regularly. Let's come back to where we started this discussion. We began with the fact that there is always a moment in front of you. Just open your eyes, and there it is. Where did it come from? Now we know the moment in front of you came from the stars. The atoms were baked together in the solar furnaces, then pulled together into this mess we call Earth. You studied what happened next in science class. The elements join together to form stable molecules such as H2O based on the law of electromagnetism. Because of the interaction of these laws, there's water in the oceans. As other more complex molecules formed, they created the primordial soup from which living organisms formed. Every part of every cell in your body is composed of elements created in the stars billions of years ago. This explains where your body came from, but it does not explain where you came from. You're not made of atoms. You are the consciousness that is aware of the objects that are made of atoms. Your body may be the result of this long process of Darwinian evolution, but what about you in there? Where did you come from? How did you get in there? And why is it the way it is in there? The natural sciences may explain the outside, but what about the inside? This is exactly what we'll be exploring in the coming chapters. What science has discovered about reality should give you more respect for creation, not less. The fact that we are able to explain these phenomenal events that took place should leave you with a sense of awe. Just look at how it ended up after 13.8 billion years. Dare to look at what is in front of you in this light. Now that you know where it all came from, pay attention. What's in front of you is a very holy thing, all of it. Now consider whether this process of creation had anything to do with you. Were you around causing any of this to happen? Will you be around for the next billion years causing all that is going to happen to take place everywhere? Of course not. The universe is a phenomenal system of cause and effect. What was causes what is. What is causes what will be. This has been happening from the beginning of time throughout the universe. Every single moment in front of you took billions of years, with everything happening exactly like it did to manifest as it is. To fully understand what this means, it helps to look at a simple example from your family history. If your great-great-grandmother didn't meet your great-great-great-grandfather, you're not here. That's simply the truth. Let's take a moment to tell a story of how they met so you can see how dependent everything is on everything else. The story begins all the way back with the dinosaurs. After a fierce storm in what is now south central Florida, there was a big dinosaur lumbering around. When this dinosaur put its big footprint down into the wet soil, it caused a gigantic imprint in the mud. Over time, rainwater accumulated in the steep imprint, and the earth began to erode around it. Eventually, the water area grew so large it became what we now call Lake Okeechobee. Millions of years later, the Miami tribe settled by that lake because of this fresh water, fish, and other animals. Centuries passed. The Spanish settlers built a small town on the edge of the lake. Your great-great-great-grandmother was a descendant of the Miami, and your great-great-grandfather was visiting the small Spanish settlement. One day, while it was pouring rain around the lake, your great-great-grandfather was drinking in the local salon. He was so drunk when he stepped outside the saloon. Saloon이라 그래야 되나? Never noticed your great-great-grandmother walking by sopping wet. Just as he stumbled down the stairs, falling drunk to the ground, your great-great-grandmother slipped into the mud and fell right on top of him. Well, they looked at each other, started laughing, and it was love at first sight. The rest is history. In other words, if the dinosaur hadn't walked there millions of years ago, and if the Miami tribe hadn't settled there, and if the Spaniards hadn't built the town there, and if it hadn't been raining that day, and if Grandpa hadn't fallen down drunk at the exact spot where Grandma slipped in the mud, you're not here. and neither are a lot of other things. Every single thing and the result is the result of every single thing that ever happened throughout time and space. You're not the doer, you're the experiencer of reality. If this is true, and it is, then it's pretty silly to think it took 13.8 billion years for this moment to get here. And every single thing had to happen exactly as it did. But I don't like it. That's funny. It's like saying that you don't like the Saturn has rings. Now, do you see why we took the time to explore where what's in front of you came from? It has nothing to do with you. It is the result of trillions of factors that caused it to be the way it is. This is our first encounter of what surrender and acceptance really mean. You don't surrender the outside world. You totally accept it. What you surrender is your personal made-up judgment of it. If you were asked whether it's okay with you that Saturn has rings, 좀 중요한 부분이에요. What you surrender is your personal made-up judgment of it. 그러니까 세상에 이 바깥 세상에 대해서 이 항복을 하는 게 아니고 당신의 이 판단, 이 세상에 대한 판단, 개인적인 이거를 이제 항복한다는 거죠. So if you were asked whether it's okay with you that Saturn has rings, you would probably look very puzzled and say, "What's it got to do with me?" That's a crazy question. The truth is every single thing is that way. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the forces that caused it to be that way it is. And those forces stretch back billions of years. The total acceptance of this truth is surrender. You must let go of the part of you that thinks it has the right to do, right to like and dislike, the result of billions of years of interactions. Surrender is letting go of the part of you that is not living the truth. That is true surrender. Eventually, you'll come to realize that the moment in front of you is a very holy thing. Our scientific exploration of where that moment came from is actually very spiritual. Quantum physicists are exploring how the entire universe is emanating from an omnipresent, undifferentiated field of energy, the quantum field. They're showing us how everything is made of light. That used to be a strictly spiritual concept. Our scientists are our priests. They're teaching us how the underlying force of creation created creation. Science shows us that every moment before us is worthy of great respect. A spiritual person understands this truth, ingrains them into their being, and lives their life accordingly. If it took 13.8 billion years for the moment in front of you to get there, and it took 13.8 billion years for you to end up in front of that moment, every moment is indeed a match made in heaven. Nobody else standing there experiencing exactly what you're experiencing. Truth is, no one ever did, and no one ever will. That exact moment will never be there again. All moments just keep passing through time and space. You're being given a unique show that took billions of years to create. It's right in front of you. And you're complaining about it. We all think we have very good reasons to complain. The intention of this journey we are on together is to take away those reactions, whatever they are. The moment in front of you is a gift from creation. There are shapes, colors, and sounds. There are people and lots of things to do. It's not that way on Mars, nor on any place we have seen thus far in studies of the universe. But we don't live our lives with a constant sense of awe and appreciation. That's why these discussions about cosmology and quantum physics are spiritual. They are taking away your right to make everything personal when it's not personal. Your consciousness may be aware of the moment in front of you, but you did not create that moment. You're simply being given this wonderful opportunity to experience a moment in creation. It took billions of years to get here. Be sure you don't miss it. 옆으로 가자. People make such a big deal out of science versus God, as if the two are at odds with each other. The real problem is that people don't truly believe in either. 이게 맞지? If you believe that science explains the creation of all things, you live your life with constant awareness that everything you are interacting with is emanating from the quantum field, pulling itself together into atoms and molecules, then appearing as the form before you. You would not like it or dislike it. You'd be in awe of it. Likewise, if you really believed God was the creator of all things, you'd live in awe and appreciation of the marvel of the divine creation. You would not like or dislike it. You would be blown away that it even exists. You live in a world where a seed falls on the ground and it has a built-in chemist that knows how to break down the molecules of dirt and water, mix them with sunlight, and combine those substances into cornstalk or a tree. You're taught that this intelligent chemist is the complex DNA molecule. Where did this amazing molecule structure come from? All of elements were forged in the stars and then naturally got pulled together into the DNA structure by the four fundamental forces: gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak nuclear forces. Human intelligence had nothing to do with the creation of DNA. And yet DNA is responsible for all the plant and animal life on Earth. We live in a world that is so perfect, it should constantly blow our minds. But we're so lost in making it all personal that we miss both the greatness of science and the greatness of God. We began this exploration by asking what it's like for you in there. You know you're in there. What is the nature of the experiences you are having? To answer this, we explore the origin and nature of the outside world in which you live. Hopefully, you have more respect and appreciation for it. 개미가 안경에까지 있네. To answer this, we explore the origin and nature of the outside world in which you live. Hopefully, you have more respect and appreciation for it right now. That moment in front of you is special. You might want to practice appreciating it and notice the effect that has on your life. Next, we're going to work with this mind and its thoughts, then the heart and its emotions. They don't come in through your senses, but they're certainly things you experience. As we comb through each layer, it's going to become easier and easier to let go, to accept and surrender. Remember, you're not surrendering during life. You're surrendering your resistance to life. We can use the term mindfulness to mean that you're always conscious of what is really going on around you and inside you. You're not just conscious of the appearance of things, but also their true nature, where they come from, why they're the way they are, and what it took for them to manifest before you. Mindfulness is a natural, effortless process once you let go of personal distractions. Instead of thinking that the moment in front of you has to be a certain way, you start thinking that it's pretty awesome the way it is. In fact, it's amazing that it even exists. From now on, everywhere you look and everything you interact with, be sure to say thank you. And be sure to pay tribute to the stars. They're not just romantic things twinkling in the night sky. They're furnaces of the universe. They have created everything for you. Can you thank them? Can you appreciate this truth and understand that you didn't do anything to deserve the trees, the oceans, and the sky? You don't even know where you came from. You're just in there experiencing this amazing gift unfolding before you. This is spirituality. Come into harmony with reality instead of your personal self. 머리. Part 3, the mind. 정신. Chapter 11, empty mind. As a conscious being, you are aware of the world coming in through your senses, but your awareness is not limited to that outside world. You also have inner experiences. Sometimes, when the world comes in, it makes you feel good. Other times, it makes you feel bad. Since the outside world is really just structures of atoms, why does it have that inner effect on you? How could a bunch of atoms get you all jumped up inside? What's going on? You're capable of experiencing 3 distinct things: the outside world, the mind, and the emotions. Now that we have deeply examined the nature of the outside world, let's start our journey into understanding the second object of consciousness, the mind. What is mind? We all know that what mind is. We're in here and we experience it every day of our lives. In the simplest sense, mind is a place in which throughout thoughts exist. We have thoughts all the time. Why is he driving so slow? I'm going to be late. Now what am I going to do? Undoubtedly, these are thoughts, but where do they exist? They certainly don't exist in the outside world. Scientists are not able to read your thoughts, as hard as they have tried, but you can. There's not a machine they've ever made, even for billions of dollars, that can read your thoughts.
생각을 일단은 기회가 없는데 어떻게 요즘 챗GPT를 못 보셨나 보네.
Yeah, you can effortlessly. That's a pretty amazing power you have. Take a moment to digest the fact. Your consciousness has the ability to be aware of things that machines can detect. Thoughts and emotions. These objects of consciousness surely exist, but not in what we define as the physical world. Our scientists have shown us that the whole universe comes down to energy. Thoughts and emotions are simply energy vibrating at such high rates that machines can detect them. Someday they might be able to.
아니 지금 그 썸데이가 왔다니까요.
Machines couldn't detect gamma rays, X-rays, or even infrared light until we made machines that could pick up those subtle vibrations. Scientists didn't then classify these higher vibration objects as something alien to our world. They simply expanded the definition of the electromagnetic spectrum to include them. It's not that the higher vibrations hadn't always been there, we simply hadn't been able to detect them. Likewise, your thoughts are there and have always been there. What if a scientist told you, no, your thoughts are not there, I can't detect them, so they don't exist? You would walk away and laugh. You know your thoughts are there. You, the same conscious awareness we've been discussing, have the ability to pay attention to, or not pay attention to. The thoughts being created at this higher vibration of energy. Through the years, people have called this larger range of vibrations the mental plane. Many questions come up regarding the topic of mind. For example, what are thoughts and where do they come from? Since scientists don't have direct access to your thoughts, only you can answer these questions. You're in there, and you have the ability to look at your mind. You even use the terms
my mind, and my thoughts. You say, I had a terrible thought the other day. My thoughts are really bothering me lately. How do you know you had a terrible thought? How do you know that your thoughts are bothering you? You're in there, so you know what it's like to be in there experiencing thoughts. You can think of mind as a high vibration field of energy in which thoughts can be created. Mind is not the thoughts. Mind is the field of energy in which thoughts are capable of existing. 마인드 정신이 있기 때문에 이제 생각을 할 수 있다. Just as clouds are not the sky, but they exist in the sky and are formed out of the substance of the sky. So thoughts are not the mind, but they exist in the mind and are formed out of the substance of mind. Buddhists talk about empty mind in the purest sense. That is what we're referring to when we use the term mind. It is a field of energy with nothing in it. There are no thoughts. There's just an absolute still, formless field of energy we call mind. This is not conceptual. You can go in there. Meditators who have gone deep inside, deep understand this. You just rest in void, in empty mind. You're there, but there are no thoughts. It's just completely quiet, completely empty. It's like a powerful computer that has no software on it. The computer has great potential, but it doesn't do anything. This is what empty mind is. It's not stupid. In fact, its latent capabilities are enormous. It is simply still, not creating thoughts. Basically, that is what Buddhists mean by empty mind, and it is our starting point for understanding mind. The outside world exists independent of this field of mind. Whether the mind is still or mind is noisy, the planet continues to spin on its axis, and all the galaxies continue to float through space. The energy that makes up the physical plane is at a grosser vibration rate than the energy that makes up the mental plane. From your own personal experience, you know that the consciousness is capable of being aware of both the physical plane and the mental plane at the same time. Now that we've examined the concept of empty mind, let's begin the process of forming objects in the field of mind. In order for you, in there, consciousness, to be aware of the physical plane, you're given a physical body to house the five senses that pick up sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. This body is a gift that the stars gave you, that evolution is perfected. Because of the senses, the vibrations from the outside world come in. They pass through the sensory receptors of the sensory nerves into the brain, and then manifest in the mind where you experience them. The rendering of the outside world is one of the most basic functions of mind. It's very much like watching a ball game being played in California while you're in Florida. The actual physical light and sound vibrations are picked up by the cameras at the game. They are then digitized and transmitted to a receiver at your home. The received signals are then rendered onto your flat screen TV. It seems like you're looking at the game, but you're not. You're looking at the rendering of the transmitted signals that the cameras picked up. It's amazing how much this parallels what is happening when you see the world around you. Your senses pick up different vibrations from the outside world, just like a camera's sensors do. In the case of your senses, however, you can pick up 5 different vibration rates, not just sight and sound. Your senses convert the different vibrations into electrical nerve impulses and transmit them to the brain. The signal are and then rendered in the mind's energy field to as closely as possible replicate the original physical source. You become aware of what is going on in front of you by being aware of its mental image rendered in your mind. Just like you become aware of the ball game in California by being aware of what is rendered on your TV screen in Florida.
이분이 플로리다 출신이라 그런가 플로리다 얘기가 맞네.
You're not there in the world. You're inside. You're way back inside. Though the world is happening everywhere, you only experience the part that is picked up by your senses and rendered in your mind. Mind is no longer empty. It has formed its energy into the exact image of what is within the scope of your senses. As we discussed, you're not looking out into the world. The outside is being reproduced in your mind, and you're not looking at that mental image. It's really not that different from when you're dreaming. In the dream state, images are being created in the mind, and you're looking at them. The waking state is the same, except that the mental images are being generated by the senses instead of by the mind itself. These mental images that form in the mind are like the images that form on your flat screen TV. The screen was blank, but now it has taken the form of the ball game in California. Your mind was empty, but now it has taken the form of the outside world around you. Your mind is so brilliant. Your flat screen TV has a digital signal processor that takes that received digital signal, decodes it, and renders it onto the screen and through the speakers. Your mind takes the encoded nerve impulses and reproduces the entire scene in front of you, including depth perception, as well as adding touch, smell, and taste. It renders all the detail made out of the higher energy vibration of the mind. This exact rendering of the outside world is one of the primary functions of your mind. It allows you in there to experience the outside world. The mind is such an amazing gift. It is naturally formless, yet it can create forms that are brilliant than those made by the most powerful computer. Mind is really the first personal computer. In fact, it is so personal that it doesn't need any external form. Its display screen is inside, its computing and graphics capability are inside, and you don't need a keyboard, mouse, or voice recognition to communicate with it. It is so close to you that it responds to your will and the slightest impulse from your heart. We have now gone from empty mind to a mind that renders the outside world so you can experience your surroundings. Experience is the nectar of life. You're in there and you're capable of experiencing because of the rendering capability of your mind.
아니 렌더링 이게 되게 많이 나오는 게 진짜 컴퓨터랑 똑같잖아요. 컴퓨터가 이제 그래픽 카드에서 렌더링 한다 그러죠.
Of what meaning is life if you don't experience it? We spent a lot of time discussing how the outside world was created billions of years of stellar activity resulting in what appears around you. You saw how it was created. Now you see how consciousness, which does not belong to the world of form, can experience it through the miracle of mind. In truth, consciousness is the most profound miracle, an essence that knows that it knows that it knows. Everything else is something you're conscious of. The true magic is consciousness itself. When consciousness is simply experiencing reality as imagined in the mind, that is what we call being in the present moment. 그러니까 when consciousness, 우리의 의식이 simply experiencing, 단순히 경험하고 있을 때 현실을 정신이 보는 그대로 객관적으로 보고 있을 때 그거를 우리는 현존이라고 말을 한다. At this point in our discussion, there is nowhere else to be. The real world is outside. It is being reflected in your mind, and you're aware of the image right in front of you. In this very simple state, you're experiencing what you are meant to experience. The gift of the moment that is being given to you. It comes in and learn from it simply because you experienced it. There are no distractions. There is just total oneness with the moment in front of you. Everyone has had some rare moments like this. Perhaps it took a beautiful sunset to bring you such a state of one-pointed consciousness. You were driving around a corner, and all of a sudden, the sun was setting with beautiful purple, orange, and magenta. It was the most beautiful thing you had ever seen, and it completely blew your mind. What does that mean? It blew your mind. It means there was nothing left in your mind but that image of the sunset. Not the mortgage, not the problem with the boyfriend, not the worries from the past. The only experience you were having was this beautiful sunset coming in through your eyes, rendering in your mind, and merging with your entire being. Your entire consciousness was centered and focused on the experience you were having, instead of being scattered all over the place. It was truly a spiritual experience. That is what the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali describes as the experiencer and the experience becoming one. You have allowed a merger between subject and object. There's nothing distracting your consciousness from what is happening right in front of you. This is the yogic state of dharana. 현존한다를 인도말로 다라나라고 하는 one-pointed concentration. You've had other experiences that approach this state of one-pointed absorption. Sometimes in intimate moments with someone you love, when everything is just right, you lose yourself in the moment. All of a sudden, total beauty and peace come over you. When consciousness merges with the object of consciousness, you can feel the presence of God. In yogic philosophy, the self is called Sachi Ananda. Sachi Ananda, external conscious bliss. When self-focused one-pointedly on a single object, one experiences the nature of self, total peace, contentment, and overwhelming bliss. This is available to us at any time if we can just learn to enter the undistracted state of one-pointed consciousness. 네, 현존에 대해서 얘기하고 있어요. 좀 쉴까? 힘드네. 일요일 새벽이 최악이야, 방송하기. 나한텐 제일 좋은 날인데. 슬슬 배고픈데. 먹을 게 뭐가 있나요? 참치랑 크래커 먹을까? 그래도 다행히 참치는 날짜 지난 거 안 주네. 먹어서 입맛이 없어서 그런가? 맛이 왜 이러지? 아, 근데 더우니까 진짜 입맛이 없네. 물에 소주 한잔 했으면 좋겠다. 더울 때는 물에 비빔냉면, 또 뭐 있지? 맥주. 아, 진짜 입맛 없네. 배고픈데. 한시? 2시? 시간 뒤지게 안 가네. 아이고, 이제 지금 다 안 먹으면 버려야 되는데. 저 흑표는 개간지네. 왠지 와이프 대신에 애들 데리고 나온 것 같은데 그럼 막 떨피네. 애들 보러 와가지고. 진짜 여름이 오긴 왔나 보네요. 입맛 없어지고. 미션 실패했네. 근데 원래 6월 전에 탈출하는 거 생각하고 있었으니까 아직 한 달 남긴 했는데, 사실 한 달 있다고 하더라도 진짜 힘들겠다 여기. 플로리다의 여름은 지옥인데. 더워서 그런 거 낮잠도 자기 싫다. 다 짜증나는데 그냥. 아니 나는 더 이상 까매질 때도 없는데. 새벽 3시 더 이상 올 사람도 없으니까. 놀러 갈까? 그동안 1시간 읽었네. 좀 쉬다 있다 올게요. 바이.